Hello everyone and welcome to this video. We are going to be talking about the CELPIP test. For this first video, we're just going to be addressing the practice answer for the reading section, just so you guys are familiar with the format as well as the questions, answers, and why they're the correct answers. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at this. If we see here, right? On the top, you're always going to have your section labeled. So for example, this has practice test A, reading practice task. Okay, so it'll be like reading part 1, part 2, part 3, and it'll also say what it does. So for example, part 2, reading a diagram or looking at a diagram. Okay, up here you have the time remaining. So normally there will be some time up here showing how long you have to take the test. And then what my face is covering here is the next button. Okay. And then as we go through the reading section, they'll be separated just like this, where we always have the reading on the left side and then the questions that you answer on the right side. Okay. And then normally you're not going to have this answer key button, obviously, but just to let you all know. Okay. So in the time allowed, you're supposed to read the article and then you'll have a drop-down menu. So for this this practice test, we only have one question here. So it says, which province is on the Pacific Ocean? You'll simply click this drop-down arrow and pick whichever one you think is correct. Okay. So now that we've talked about the basics of what you see here in this page, let's go ahead and answer this question quickly. All right. So it says, which province is on the Pacific Ocean? All right. So a way that I would go about doing this is we have a proper noun here, which is, let me underline it for you guys. Okay, the Pacific Ocean, right? So we're looking for this Pacific Ocean specifically. And since it's a proper noun, it's always going to be mentioned. Okay, so for example, if we scan through this page here, we do see the word Pacific Ocean. So that can help us find the correct answer. All right, now that we see where the Pacific Ocean is, it says, off the west coast of British Columbia is the Pacific Ocean. Okay, pretty straightforward, right? So if we go over here and we see off the west coast of British Columbia is the Pacific Ocean, that would mean that British Columbia is going to be our correct answer. Okay. Just to double check, normally you don't do this unless you have extra time, but we can check why the other answers are wrong. Okay, so we have none of it. Let's go ahead and box all of these incorrect answers that we see in the article. So we know we're looking for none of it. All right, I see that here. And then we also have Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. Scotia, Prince Edward Island. Okay. And why are these wrong? Well, let's take a quick look. So first, none of it. It says, to the north, the Arctic Ocean borders Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. So we know that Nunavut is next to the Arctic Ocean, not the Pacific Ocean. So Nunavut is incorrect. Okay, and then the next two we have, after where we read about the Pacific Ocean, it says the Atlantic Ocean, meanwhile, sits to the east of Canada's maritime provinces, which include Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island. So what we can see here is it says that Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island are on the east coast where the Atlantic Ocean is. Okay, so not the Pacific, but the Atlantic Ocean. Therefore, these two are also wrong. Okay, this is just a practice question to make sure that you understand the process and how to answer, the format, the testing, all of that. Okay. So don't take this into too much account when actually answering the test in terms of right, what the correct or incorrect answer is. The practice one, it's not going to be scored. It's just to understand how the test is going. Okay. So again, if you have any problems with this, please take a look at our future videos here, which are going to be about each of the test sections, reading 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to cover those that are actually graded. The purpose of this one is just to simply give you an understanding of how the test looks and how to go about answering questions. Okay, so we'll see you at the start of this test for reading part 1. Bye-bye.